Hey there, welcome to the Chamber of Skulls. My name is Sly, and today we're going over, if you remember from my previous video, where I talked about finding a skull that appears to be hydro dipped on my road trip. So this one is the one that we were talking about. Let's get you guys a little bit of a look here, give you a side angle. So, as I had mentioned previously, talking about this one, when I was out on my journey this past weekend, I stopped at a gas station, had no anticipation at all, even looking for skulls. It's actually one of my typical stops when I travel up north to visit family and friends. Never seen a skull there before. My fiance asked me if I were going to look for skulls. I was looking at a particular item, and she said that skulls would be more my thing since I'm a skull fanatic. So I decided to look just out of curiosity because in their collectibles section, they do sell random stuff. So, and if you can see that I'm shivering, if you can hear the tremor in my voice, yeah, it's pretty cold out here, and being in my basement, it's not finished yet, so it's rather cold down here. So, anyways, getting back to this, I decided to check out that section of the gas station, and lo and behold, they had three skulls for sale. They had this one, they had one that had a rose like in behind the ear area, and one that had a rose in its mouth. Now, the whole floral aspect isn't what gets to me, though I was stuck between this one and the one with the rose in the mouth. But like I said, the floral thing isn't really my thing. I mean, maybe sometime down the road for either artistic aspect or whatever measure, I may buy something like that. But the one thing you will never, I'm hardcore never, is the Day of the Dead skulls, the candy skulls. Those things I will never get into. I don't know what it is about them that I don't like. It's not the culture, it's not a racist thing against the Hispanics or Mexicans. It has nothing to do with that at all. Just to get that off the table, since it is 2020, we're in the 2020s and everything has to have some kind of a biased opinion on matters. So, no, it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with culture. It's a simple fact that the candy skulls are not my point of interest. So, this one here in particular, it's got that. Oh, what artist am I trying to think of? He's a famous artist. Well, not really famous artist, but he's a well-known artist. You'll especially find his work like on the cover of notebooks and stuff like that. I mean, so that's the vibe this gets, and you'll see at the end here at the close-up shot, and maybe you can help me in the comments below identify what the artist is I'm trying to think of. But this is your kind of typical like casino vibe. We've got cards, we've got money, we've got, yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Cards and money, dice. So it's kind of got that high roller casino vibe. And even though I'm not a gambler, but it stuck out to me. It's the one out of the three that I like the most. Even though this is something typically I wouldn't have any real interest in, at least this particular design, because as you can see, it's got flowers on it, and as I just previously mentioned, the flower look isn't my appeal. I'm looking for more of that dark, gothic-y, extreme, and plain and simply different vibe. So when I saw the three that they had for sale, this was the one that grabbed my attention the most. As far as design goes, it's not bad. He kind of got that squared off, chiseled chin look, unlike your typical pointed ish spade shaped skull. This one's more flat and chiseled. But everything else, let's take you back here and look at what we're looking at for the face. So as we can see here, I mean, the paint job itself, even though being hydro dip, but you look at the nose and the eye sockets, the space between the teeth, everything is well painted. It's not just half-assed done like a lot of my work has been, if you really notice that well, where the painting or the staining is not fully on. It's like 90% darkened. Where this one here, let's bring that back over to me. Yeah, this one here, the eye socket and the nose socket and the gaps between the teeth is perfectly darkened. Now that could have something to do with the hydro dip. Maybe they got everything really good and dark, then went in and gave it a white finish that did the hydro dipping. I don't know. But either way you look at it, I mean, as far as sculpture goes, this is a really good one. And along with the painting, staining, whatever you want to call it, I mean, everything in that aspect is really good. Now, as you'll see when I show you the close-up, what I mean by the hydro dip, this kind of looks like it was a design that was just placed on there. It wasn't painted. I mean, the back here looks stretched. You got design everywhere. You got it over the teeth. I mean, it's everywhere. So, I mean, this tells me that this was hydro dipped, which, nevertheless, I mean, it's a great concept. Is it something that could have been done a little better? Maybe roll the skull instead of try dipping it or however they did to lessen the stretch? Yeah, sure. But nevertheless, I would say I would probably give this a 7 out of 10 for the whole around the point creation. Come on. Let's turn this back around again for you. So I'm going to leave you here now. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Have you ever seen a skull hydro dip before? I mean, this is my first time seeing it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I know they hydro dipped a lot of stuff, but I've never seen skulls done like that before. And I think that's half the reason I got it, because of that whole aspect. Besides the fact of like the casino vibe. Probably never will see a hydro dip skull again. And it's, well, as everything in my collection, it's an original. I mean, yeah, these things are mass produced. There's probably going to be in a lot of houses. I don't mean that as an original, as a one of a kind, but it's just something you don't see that often. So I'm going to leave you here and give you guys some images of the close-up. And until then, I will see you next week. You guys have a skulltastic weekend. Stay safe and stay warm.